Welcome to The Way Home with Laura Smith, the show that brings you wonderful guests, helpful advice, and uplifting stories. The Way Home. Live inspired. Here's your host, Laura Smith.
Well, about a year or a year and a half ago, something like that, I had the great good pleasure of meeting someone through a dear friend of mine in the entertainment business. And he introduced me to Jeff. And little did I know when that encounter first happened that I would be stepping into a beautiful world of movie making, of films, ideas, and scripts, and things that could really potentially change the world for the better. Topics and tones that have to do with faith, hope, and love, which I think more than any time in the world, or at least since I've been alive, we need it more than ever. His name is Jeff Eadie. He is a producer, and he is the founder of CL9 Entertainment. And he is also the son of somebody who has written a book of over 30 million copies sold worldwide. Jeff Eadie, thank you so much for joining us today so we can talk all about your various projects and, of course, by Embraced by the Light. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Laura. It's such a pleasure. And that was a great introduction as well. I, too, value our friendship. We did meet about a year and a half ago. And you know how when you meet someone, your spirits align and you just know that you want them on your journey? Well, I can definitely say that about you. So I really appreciate you and everything that you bring to the world.
Well, I'm honored, and thank you for that, because it was really it was a surprise. Like, you don't always know when you're going to meet someone that might change your life or will change your life, or someone that inspires you to such a degree that you see your life in a whole different way. And that's what it was like when Paul introduced me to you. You are the son of Betty Eadie. The book that I read along with a mere 30 million other people back in, was it 1995?
1993 or 1992, and it bled into 1993. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That was the book Embraced by the Light, the first ever book on a near-death experience by someone, Jeff?
I would say that it was one of the first, but it was the most detailed and I guess profoundly shared that really resonated.
Yes, resonated. I remember just diving into it and I couldn't put it down, and it was so moving, and I immediately believed it. I didn't think that there could be anyone in the world that wouldn't believe in that someone who clinically dies on an operating table only to take a journey spiritually that they can later disclose to the world. And your mother had great courage. I think about that. You know, we think now that 30 million people have read the book and you're creating the film around it, I think, you know, at the time doing that, might talk about stepping out in faith. Did your mom feel very compelled to write that story because she felt like there were messages within her journey that she needed to share with us mere mortals on the earth?
Well, that's a really good question. And we definitely, that's actually will play a very important theme in the upcoming film. But Betty had a calling when she came back to her earthly state after her near-death experience and being in heaven with Christ. Her mission was to share the message of God's unconditional love with the world. And she really didn't know quite how to do that. You know, when you're back from the spiritual realm back into the physical realm, you have different constraints, earthly constraints and those types of things, and different types of fears and concerns. And Betty, as she walked her journey on trying to figure out how to navigate her life and share the message that was given to her, she was told that she needed to write a book. And so she did. And the way that came about, Laura, I'm not sure if I shared this with you. It's in the book and it will be in the film. But she decided she was going to write a book. And my dad, who was a software engineer and he was good at typing, we had a computer in the house. She sat down and she dictated to him and he typed it up. But it was more of a spiritual download. As my mom explains, it was a download. My mom had never written a book before. And she had this information. She knew what needed to be in the book. She knew the chapters. And so it was a divine spiritual download that was necessary for her to get out there and share the message in the profound and massive way in which Embraced by the Light did. As you can see with the 25, 30 million books sold and a New York Times bestseller, which at the time, it broke every publishing record. Can you believe that?
I can. I can because, there is a hunger for that. We think we're alone in our faith sometimes, that we're the only ones that believe such things or are hoping for such things as an afterlife to be true and real, and for God to be there waiting for us and having messages for all of us with love. And yet, you do kind of feel alone in it until you hear someone else's story. And then it sort of gives you permission to kind of follow along and go with that. So your mom, I think she was incredibly brave to do that. And the book is beautifully written. So when you say a divine download, I get that, because I think that it's apparent in the writing that there was something so much bigger at play than maybe someone who had never written a book before. But she also must be just incredibly gifted, as you are. And we are going to talk about your breadth of work beyond Embraced by the Light. But just for more on this, so you are making the film. I'm surprised it hasn't been made 100 times before this.
Yes.
But you, being her son, you own the rights to the film, and you would, who better to do it than you?
Thank you, Laura. It's everything done is done intentionally and purposefully to honor the message that God gave my mom to share with the world. Unfortunately, sometimes Hollywood can take a message and they can change it, from its intent. I always tell people the secret sauce in is Embraced by the Light is not changing it. Because when you have a story that has profoundly, positively affected millions of people around the world, you don't want to change that message. That message is working. And so we've had offers since the 90s. We've walked away from offers, and you know me, Laura, I'm the anti-name dropper, but we've had offers from some of the top people in Hollywood over the decades to make this film, and we've had to pass because they weren't going to tell the story in which was shared with Betty that didn't honor the message that God had given her to share. So over the years, after turning down a lot of different offers and opportunities, I decided to go ahead and take it upon myself to start my own film production company. And I got the rights to the film, and we developed the script ourselves. So that way we can honor the story, make sure that the film will tell the message that was given Betty. And it has been a journey, let me tell you. Learning Hollywood, meeting people in Hollywood. There's great people there, and there's some people that try and take things in another direction. We've been very blessed, but the journey's been long. But we actually breaking news here on your radio show, we actually just got back the draft script last week. So now we're in a polish phase.
Oh, my goodness. And who does the polishing?
Well, I'm going to be doing that directly with the writer. And then when we're done, we're going to pass it over to Betty to make sure that everything goes the way in which, she had the spiritual divine download. So with the book, and to me, not just as her son, but as a steward of this message, I need to make sure that this film script is under the same sort of a downloadable message that Betty agrees with. So we're close. Yeah, we're getting there. We couldn't be more excited.
It's just incredible. And is your mom, Betty, is she in a position still at, 30 some years later to have clarity and remembrance of everything that happened? Is it still just as clear as day for her?
Well, Betty never stopped, and that's the beauty of it. She calls it her ministry, but she has, and me as well, because, I helped push that. I was in publishing and I helped push the book out there back in the 90s. So I've worked with Betty hand in hand for the past 2-3 decades, pushing this message out there. We've never stopped. The emails, the text messages, the phone calls that we get from people around the world who are going through pain or are suffering or lost a loved one. Betty has never stopped. She does weekly podcasts, and we have, and I'm on that along with her. So this is just a natural progression. This is her life mission, and Betty likes to say, she's still, if she wakes up in the morning, then she's still on her mission. And she's going to give everything that she has for that mission every single day, and that personifies her. Matter of fact, it's real funny, real quick. Like we call her the Energizer Bunny because at 83, no one can keep up with her. And that's a testimony to God. People always ask me these last 3 decades, why did God give her that message? It's because he knew that she would fulfill the mission.
Oh, that's so touching. It just gives me chills, honestly, to think about it. But the humility and the grace involved with that, right? It's both of you, and I'm sure your entire family, but both of you, it's a charge. You know, when God gives that to you and puts it in your heart that it has to be done, you really have to be a servant and humble to the message. And yes, both of you are being honest towards that and full of integrity towards that, which I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So then once the script is in, it's finished, it's polished, as you said, the next step is to take it to investors.
So we're independently developing the script so that we can maintain the message, ensure the message. Right. But then what we're going to do is then we're going to take this and then we're going to do it in more of a mainstream film production fashion so that we can have the cinematography can match what is necessary to show the beauty of heaven. Because, Laura, one thing that we always talk about is that, and if you read Betty's book, the way she describes what heaven looks like to walk and talk with Christ, the beauty and majesty of heaven has never really truly been shown in cinema. It just hasn't been shown yet. A lot of these films that show heaven, they skirt around the edges of what heaven looks like. They skirt around the edges of really having Christ walk and talk with people. We're not going to do that. We're diving in head first. We're going to show people, to the best of our human ability, what heaven actually looks like from someone who's been there. And that excites us beyond belief. It gives me goosebumps to even think about that challenge. So we need to have the best people that we can partner with in Hollywood to help us make that happen. There's other people who are going to be involved that I can't mention yet. But we're super, super excited. And the great news, again, is that we're blessed with some great partners.
It sounds, I mean, what you're doing is you're sort of marrying the independent film approach and obviously with a firsthand experience with this story in your family, but then you're allowing elements of the greatest movie making that's available today to take it all the way there. So I just think that's the perfect marriage. And it's a lot about the philosophy, I think, behind CL9 Entertainment, which you have started, and Embraced by the Light being one of probably the premier project right now, but you have a few others that you're working on, which when I hear them, I also get goosebumps. They are so fantastic. Do you want to divulge a couple of the other movies that you're working on?
Thank you so much, Laura. You know, the true blessing, other than sharing Embraced by the Light, has been this journey that I've been on since I started my entertainment company, and just meeting some of the best people in Hollywood that are also trying to put out value-based and faith-based products. There's some really spiritual giants out there that are trying to do the same things that I am. And what we talk about all the time is joining together, and let's see what we can do together. Because to be honest, a lot of faith-based projects have been kind of pushed to the wayside, and it's harder to get them out there. But now that we've been talking the last few years, at a high level of what can we do to get these types of films out there that can make positive impacts in people's personal and spiritual lives. And with those contacts and those relationships, we've been looking at other projects. One in particular is one that is called Joseph of Egypt, which is the story of Joseph. And to me, it's one of the most profound stories of forgiveness that I've ever truly heard. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't be more excited. I can't give up too much because we're in the beginning, but it's going to be a trilogy. We already have the first script completed. We have high-level talented attached at a very high level, and we couldn't be more excited. And the great thing is about Embraced by the Light, kind of circling back to that, is none of this would be possible if I wasn't out there working Embraced by the Light. And so God's will does work its way, right? And you just have to follow it. And that's what I tell everyone that I work with. Providence guide the way. We work as hard as we can, and God's will guide the way. And these projects that we're developing, that are in development, including Joseph of Egypt, are similar to Embraced, that they're value-driven, they're faith-driven, and they're meant to help people navigate their personal and spiritual lives. So I know I can go on and on and on.
And I could listen to it all day and all night. And it just brings me so much joy. My guest is Jeff Eadie. He is the founder and producer of CL9 Entertainment. And these are films that he is helping to create. That first one, Embraced by the Light, based on his mother's experience and book that made it around the world, was on the bestseller list for over a year on the New York Times bestseller list. Over 30 million people embracing the book and reading it and rereading it. I think there is such a hunger, Jeff, for these films. It's not a coincidence that, you're seeing it everywhere, proliferate throughout even normal, modern, mainstream media, whether it's, a lot of the Angel studio movies that have made it big with The Chosen, those types of things. And then also even like on the type of entertainment, you had Hallmark, which everybody loved Hallmark. But then, people said, well, but we want to keep more of the family values in those love stories, in those, entertainment stories. So then you've got Great American Family Channel that comes out, and they're not afraid to say the word Jesus or Christ or God or, Merry Christmas in them. And they go full in on that. And there's a hunger for that. I think we had been so saturated as humanity for so many years of a Hollywood that said, nope, we're going to put this to the side. It's almost like taking God out of schools. It's like, no, but we don't have a place for that here. That has to go somewhere else. Well, no, that's just not the way we're wired. We're not wired that way. So we can't enjoy in the same way. And so the fact that these types of films and what you are creating, and also with Joseph of Egypt, it's one of my favorite stories in the Bible. I refer to it so often. It just says that people desperately want to be saturated with godly themes, with truth, with values, as you said, value-based entertainment. And it's real. And it's no longer, well, yeah, you could make a film like that, but it's not going to make you any money. That's not true anymore. These are you can make money making films like this because people want to see them. They will pay to see them because they're craving them. So I'm so grateful, first of all, that you exist, that you're doing all of this. And then also, that I have been able to meet you. It's like actually a dream come true. I had always, besides radio, this is my 30th year in radio. I have always had a desire to be in film somehow, some way, but I wanted it to be film that means something, that was very meaningful. And there you are doing this, and you're a young guy, you've been embracing this. You said since the 90s you've been publishing, and you're not that old. So I guess you were raised in this environment, and it's just part of your life. You live out on the West Coast. You live sort of near Hollywood, and it gives you access to some of the biggest names who are also interested in doing value-based and faith-based entertainment, correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's, I guess, Laura, you did hit the nail on the head in regards to society at large wanting something more, and helping my mom with her ministry. People are tired. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of division. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, not just in their own lives, but in people's faith. And people are clamoring for that, but they're clamoring for something that's authentic. I'm not saying that Hollywood's not putting out authentic faith-driven films, but a lot of them, I'll be honest, aren't where I feel like, and many others feel like they need to be. But simultaneously, one thing that we want to do, and God bless Angel Studios and other independent companies that are putting faith-driven film out there, we want our films to look cinematically brilliant like other films are, because a lot of times in the past, a lot of faith-based films, they don't have the same type of cinematic value that others do. And a lot of that has to do with financing and distribution and those types of things. And so a lot of people have been busy putting together the infrastructure to make that come about. And now is the perfect storm and the perfect timing, because it seems like people have had enough. They want more. And I don't know if it was because of COVID or other things. People question their mortality, and they're moving towards faith. They're open to faith. But more importantly, people are walking with I would say, the full armor of Christ at times, with their chin up, saying, I'm a believer.
Yeah.
And and it's looked highly upon, and there's power in that. And I love that movement. And make no mistake, that movement exists. And so, but we want to be able to put films out there that aren't preachy. We want to put films out there that aren't in your face, that aren't trying to tell you how to live your life, but that are just telling you stories that uplift you, that make you think, that make you feel, that inspire you with those types of values in it. And to me, in my experience, that's how you can transform and help people the best. And value-driven and faith-based films are moving in that direction, and we're hoping that we can be kind of the at the forefront of all of that. We know we are. We're just hoping we're hoping that we can help rise that to a new level. But yeah, I am just outside of L.A., and I love L.A. L.A. is a great place to be, but I also love the desert. So I'm a golfer, but it's a short 2-hour drive into LA for meetings, and so that's all good.
You're placed perfectly where you are, but yet your reach is with. I met you through my dear friend in New York, so
yes.
It has a way of finding people who it wants to find, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. There is a revival going on, and I'm so grateful that we're living at a time such as this, because it is real. Like you said, it is absolutely real. Jeff, when making films like this, I know there are ways that they're becoming funded that are different from the old days. It's happening in music as well. Is there any type of way that if people are interested in investing in any of your films at CL9 Entertainment, that they can get involved?
Absolutely. Angel Studios kind of broke the mold. They do a lot of crowdsourcing and different things like that, so that their viewers, the people who these films matter to most, can get involved. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. Not that we're trying to drastically change how films are made, but as I said, those types of production funds and distribution and those things are sometimes tougher for independent faith-based films. And so I think that's brilliant to be able to go to the people who want to help you push those things out there. Absolutely. We're always looking for investment partners. You can go to our website at CL9entertainment.com. And my email and contact information is on there. And so are people who are involved in the company. And then in regards to Embraced by the Light, which we've already had a lot of people get involved at that level, you can go to embracedbythelightmovie.com and you can check out and you can see more information about the film and about what we're doing. And then there's opportunities to also donate to the cause.
Wonderful. Jeff Eadie, again, embracedbythelightmovie.com is one of the websites for that particular film and for his whole library and of films and entertainment. It's CL9 Entertainment, and that's the letter C, the letter L, the number 9, entertainment.com, CL9entertainment.com. Jeff Eadie, I can't think of a better conversation to have the week of the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And the fact that you are here talking about doing this kind of film based on your mother's experience with having the opportunity to go to heaven and come back and talk all about it. I just want to thank you. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I'm so grateful that you exist, that CL9 Entertainment exists, that Embraced by the Light is going to finally be out there in a big mainstream way. I'm very grateful to you. Thank you so much for coming on, and Merry, Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Laura. It's been my pleasure, and I hope to come on again and let you know about once we get production set and get moving.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Thank you for listening to The Way Home. Each and every one of you are a part of the Way Home family, and we just wish for nothing but great happiness and safety and good health and prosperity, success, everything that you can possibly have to make your life a good one. And we'll see you next time on The Way Home. I'm Laura Smith.
Podcasts by Federated Media.